Congressman, welcome to the program. I want to start by getting your reaction to former Prime Minister Abe's assassination.
Well, let me begin by saying our hearts go out to his family and, of course, to the nation of Japan. And it's shocking that these kinds of things happen, and it's just so sad. And so I just want everyone to know how much we feel empathy for what's happened.
Yeah. What impact do you think this has? Abe was certainly a figure that was very strong and certainly bolstered the Indo-Pacific alliance.
Well, as you know, he was actually prime minister 2 times. He came back, I think, after perhaps not the most successful initial run at it, and came back later and did a wonderful job of trying to get Japan back on its feet. And he was hugely instrumental, I think, in moving Japan out of the economic doldrums and trying different types of monetary policy to make the country work better. So he was a real tiger for, if that's the right word, probably not, but for Japan, a wonderful leader. He was suffering from, as you know, health issues for much of his career, and yet he did a great job for his country.
Congressman, I appreciate your reflections. I want to turn now to some news domestically. Biden this week announcing executive orders to protect access to abortion. Take a listen to this.
Cannot allow an out-of-control Supreme Court working in conjunction with extremist elements of the Republican Party to take away freedoms and our personal autonomy.
From President Biden's announcement on the executive orders that he plans to issue when it comes to abortion.
So it's interesting to see how anxious the president is to talk about the political issue of abortion in light of the court's approach, which is based, of course, entirely upon the Constitution and upon what is legal. And what you see actually happening, the court's taking this chance, advantage, opportunity to go ahead and try to get the court back in the business of defining the law and understanding the Constitution and out of politics. So for him to be talking about taking away freedoms, he hasn't spent too much time studying the Constitution.
And some good news on the economic front. 372,000 jobs added in June. Wages also climbed by 5.1%, not nearly at the level of inflation, which is around 8.9% and likely even higher. Markets were unmoved by that, though, and all of this as Senate Democrats right now are negotiating one of the largest tax hikes that we've seen in history. What do you make of the timing here?
Well, it couldn't be worse for the American people who are paying the price, the tax, if you will, of inflation every time they go to the gas pump and every time they try to fill up a truck, every time they go to the grocery store. So to be suggesting that we should add on top of this already disastrous for many situations another set of taxes is ridiculous. And so it doesn't surprise me, though, the Democrats think that there's an unlimited amount of tax money available, and if they just go gather up more money and spend it, the things will get better. The spending of money is what got us into this mess. The $1.9 trillion that was spent a year ago March was like throwing gasoline on the inflation fire, and for them to go out and raise taxes and spend more money just will make the situation worse. It's a slap in the face to every single mom trying to figure out how in the world to pay for gasoline to get to work. It's ridiculous.
I wanted to ask you about perhaps the backlash that we could see from businesses when we look at one of the provisions under this deal that they're negotiating right now, which is a 3.8% additional tax on income earned by pass-through businesses. These are like law firms and hedge funds. What do we expect to see there?
Well, first of all, I hate to hear that word, law firms and hedge funds, as though those are the only ones that use pass-through arrangements. A pass-through business is a partnership. A pass-through business is an LLC. There are literally thousands of these pass-through devices that were set up very carefully, very cautiously, with years of work. I'm a lawyer. I know I've formed hundreds of these organizations for small businesses. So to come in and say that we're going to increase taxes on small businesses while hiding behind the words hedge funds and law firms is ridiculous and misleading the American people.
So Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has been negotiating this with obviously one of the biggest holdouts, which is Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. They're now looking at a roughly $1 trillion figure, which is $500 billion less from what the House passed last year. Half of that's going to go to new spending. The other half of that is going to go to increasing taxes to help reduce the nation's debt, and all of this to help fund Medicare, which is set to run out of money in 2028. Do you see, given the opposition that we've seen not only from Manchin, but also Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, do you think that Democrats will be able to come together on something in the coming weeks to pass this with a simple majority?
Well, I hope not. By the way, a few positive words about Senator Manchin. His stepping up and joining the Republicans, we Republicans, in stopping the $3.5 trillion bill that the Democrats, all of them voted for it. It might have been a bit less by the time it finally got to the floor and then moved over to the Senate. But thank goodness for the Republicans and for Joe Manchin stopping the bill last year that would have added, another $2 trillion to the inflationary fire we have going now. How bad would that be? As far as what they're trying to do now, let me be clear that Medicare and Social Security are programs that many, many, many millions of people rely upon, and they need our attention, but we need to be protecting the people that are using those programs and have become reliant upon them. This is not to say they don't need attention. They certainly do. As far as the Democrats being able to get their act together and pass something, they'd be a lot better off if they bring Republicans into the conversation, because without that balance, it won't stick, it won't be effective, it won't be supported, and it won't be good for the country.
Congressman Cliff Bentz, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.